Hi everyone, welcome to another Project Moon information video. So today we're going to be covering what the heck makes a human in the city, because I get it. This concept is really confusing. So within the city, it appears that the ability for humans to flourish in their own little garden is the most important thing to the head. Non-humans, AI, and anything else that falls out of the bands of human is not permitted within its walls and are exterminated upon appearance. All are marked with the designation of Impuritas Civitatis, or impurity of the city. I definitely botched that bad pronunciation, but oh well. Yes, it can be a bit confusing seeing all these differently shaped guys just running all over the place and they're just fine to exist. Like, groups such as the Carnival or Sweepers are considered human? Those guys hardly look the part. Animals are fine? Yeah, I can see how that can be a bit of a head scratcher. Well, don't you worry, fine viewer. I have put a lot of research and thought into this. I'm here to tell you that there is a pattern, a path of logic the head is following in order to determine what is or isn't allowed in. So, stick around. I'll try my best. Just a little reminder here to let you know, if you guys could subscribe and like the video and even comment, that would be really appreciated. I would be very, very thankful to see that this channel grows and this community becomes like a whole little thing. Thanks. Be cool. Alright, so I think a good place to start would be having a base definition for what's considered non-human, as having an understanding of the difference would help with understanding later sections a little bit better. So in Canto 8, a particular dialogue line reads as so: "The outskirts and the ruins are populated by sapient, sentient beings, those with intellect and emotions." So, of course, that would mean, at least at base, a basic definition for non-humans appears to be sapient, sentient entities capable of intellect and emotions. Sentient isn't really meaningful on its own, it just means something that can meaningfully engage with its environment, and plenty of animals fall under this label. The key word here is sapient. Sapient means bearing great intellect or knowledge, which isn't descriptive until you look at the word's roots. It might not be a shock, but it's the same terminology used in our species categorization, Homo sapiens. So in a way, you can think of it as more so an intellect that's similar to a human's make, as in like a human, rather than just a generic idea of intelligence that's similar to our own. So from this idea, we could discern that the head doesn't seem very tolerant of creatures that bear intelligence and emotions resemblant of humanity. Curiously, this doesn't seem to align with the head's vision. They don't seem tolerant of these types of entities at all. So they're just like, hey, get out of here, bye. A more curious thing, non-human entities seem to have had a presence in the city beforehand. Like, if this is the origin for a lot of their hate, then I guess that makes lots of sense, if they were displaced. Another caveat on top of that appears to be also their danger level, because, every single outskirts creature that we're aware of is nightmares. And I mean, even if something isn't explicitly against the head's laws, if it doesn't match their vision, they will jump them. On the other hand, human-like AI seem to be a more recent subject of expulsion. Well, not recent as in just the other day, I mean more so like within memory as well. The city sure is terrible with keeping track of its own history, and Roland states it like it's kind of been like a thing that like happened at some point that people were talking about. Like, the amendment had to have become a thing within, like, the last 3 generations or so, at least to the point where, like, people alive would have, like, remembered it coming into being and stuff. Like, surely it couldn't have been an extremely long time ago. It's at least been long enough that everyone reflexively notices Angela's inhumanity or treats her existence like a novelty. You know, it's like AI is familiar, but it's strange to most people nowadays. But wait, if Angela was considered non-human, why didn't the head just jump her right from the get-go? Fantastic question, dear viewer. It is rather simple. They chose not to. It's not that they didn't know about her or hadn't caught wind of her or felt intimidated by her. Nope. It's because she had a pathway to becoming human and was pretty dead set on that path. It appears to be the case that the head will tolerate non-human presence in the city if they're actively making an effort to become human, and said effort has reasonable projections to being successful. But they were, in fact, keeping an eye on her the whole time. So it's not like they left her to her own devices. Like, I'm sure if Angela decided mid-journey, actually, I changed my mind. This is kind of messed up. I'm going to stop doing this and just be content being a machine. They jump her. They jump her so fast. You have no idea. They jump her and teleport her whole butt to the outskirts. And she'd probably have no means of being able to stop them from doing that. Or worse, they probably could just kill her. So anyways, quick list of things we know for sure aren't allowed in. So gnomes, mountain giants, human-like AI, like Angela, cuckoo spawn, clockwork teeth, and God knows how many other things. Oh. Overall, I guess from a perspective of the head wanting this to be a humans first society, and in turn, not wanting anything that resembles but is not human to overshadow or otherwise pollute the pool, so to speak. Colonialism undertones their head depending on how the city was established. But yeah, basically, not born human, but have human heart equals banhammer. So, you're probably asking me, but there's like a whole bunch of guys in the city that don't even look or even think like humans in some cases. Why are they allowed in? And excellent question. So why are these allowed in, but not other entities? Well, I mean, simple, as I said before. They were either born human, or they do not bear human intelligence. Like, take a dog, for instance. There's nothing strongly resembling humanity in a dog. Any similarities you can draw from are from the fact that they've been man's best friend for thousands of years and have thus slowly adapted traits that befit our social behaviors and expectations. But a dog is still a dog. Like, you wouldn't say a dog, like, sounds or acts like a person, per se. Even in undomesticated species, you can understand that they have their own intelligence in their own way. They don't really act like people. They are their own animals with their own intelligences in their own ways, but not like people. As for these more humanoid or humanesque type of guys, that's because, yeah, they were born human. Entities such as abnormalities and LobCorp are brought about by injecting humans with cogito, and even in the more, especially in uncommon cases of them existing outside, they're from the river. At least that's what's been implied of them. It's a bit of a common error to take abnormality logs as completely literal. These are just the stories behind the abnormalities themselves. It's not actually where they're from or what have you. They're just context for the abnormality. There is no need to be taking them literally, because from what we understand, all the abnormalities in the facility were extracted. If there's any weird ones, then it's safer to assume that they were extracted. We literally have an extraction department, like, in the building. They're right there. Anyway, yeah. Basically, they're the boiled-down microcosms of the sea of human consciousness. Like, what's more human than that? Distortions are in the same boat as abnormalities. The only difference is that it's an extraction of the self versus an extraction of the generalized consciousness. Meanwhile, mermaids are just people who are parasitized by whales, who, too, are demonstrably just animals. Yes, animals can be smart and present with more obvious self-awareness without actually having human intellect. Whales in real life are exceptionally smart social animals. They are allowed in with no troubles. Even if they are freaky, mutant, parasite creatures that don't exactly resemble actual whales and are pretty much just a generalized term with varying intelligence. I don't know. Moving on, the Ananimworm is also just a person who was turned into something else. This is people. This was born a person, still a person. While I'm at it, the Heisho may use the DNA of outskirts creature in order to mutate their bodies for their jobs, but at large, still human. They can take suppressants, they are still people, they were born people, they are just in a job. And finally, the most questionable parties, Bloodfiends and Sweepers, too, are in fact people converted into their respective groups. But they do come across as entities that straddle the line and try not to shake the boat too terribly to get the head's attention. The head has and probably will continue to keep editing and innovating on what they consider to be allowed in the city, so yeah, I don't assume either of these groups want to piss the head off. So Sweepers are just gonna keep doing the job that was given to them, and Bloodfiends are doing their best to remain under the table, I guess. So just a quick rundown of what we know for sure is allowed in. Abnormalities, mermaids, Ananimworms, I'm never gonna say that right. Whatever the K-Corp I thing is. Heisho, distortions, Bloodfiends, Sweepers, pets, whales, crabs, farm animals, and whatever other miscellaneous creatures that you would find in a city or just out in the wilderness. I don't know. And so that's the end of it. That's about everything we know so far, at least, of what is or isn't allowed in. So that's the extent of my understanding, and that's the extent that I've been able to find in the text. So I really hope you guys all found this to be helpful. Definitely, if you believe this to have been informative, keep it tabbed. I tried to make this as easy to comprehend and get through as possible for the sake of just simplifying a discussion. I do have a question before I close out. Which of these groups do you guys like the most? I'm very curious to hear about it in the comments, so let me know. I'm a big fan of The Hay Show. Thank you so much for watching, and you have a lovely, lovely day.